I am so excited to welcome our current iHeartRadio future star, Elyse Saunders, to Pure Country. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much for the chat.
So you are playing all over the Pure Country stations right now with Never Have I Ever. What's that felt like? And have you heard it a bunch of times that you've
I
been like
have,
really happening?
yeah, my fiance and I have been turning on the Pure Country apps on all the different stations a few times a day. So we've been listening in, and it's just so exciting to hear it every time. And I've had friends send me screenshots, and they're super excited. My family, as well, has been on this journey with me for a while as well. So it's a big celebration, and it's definitely been something on my bucket list for a long time. And I got the news just before Christmas, so it was a nice Christmas present.
No kidding. And what a way to start your year off, 2024, like right out of the gate, iHeartRadio future star. And you say it's like one of your bucket list items, and a lot of like the artists that I've talked to recently and friends of yours too that have been part of our future star program. What is it about the future star program that, as an artist and somebody that has seen other artists having had that opportunity, is the reason why you are gunning for that and hoping that you will be that next iHeart future star?
Well, I've been, yeah, so excited to see so many of my friends get it. And I always thought, okay, one day it might be my turn. There's no expectations. I feel like in this career, I've learned to not have expectations. And when I do that, it's like the best outcomes usually happen. But what was so special about it is just to know that Bell Media and the whole team really are enjoying the song and what I'm doing. And to have their support and all of the listeners is a huge deal. And yeah, I love the station. I'm such a fan of the station. So to be a part of that is super cool.
So awesome. And it's cool too, like even, for me, when you realize that just with being a part of this, all over the country, people are listening to you. Like it's a really widespread opportunity, which is awesome for someone who's, introducing themselves to a lot of new markets. But I always find this whenever I do get to chat with one of the future stars is a lot of people think, oh, they're a brand new artist that just started doing this. And that's not always the case. Sometimes you get roped into like a new artist category and you're like, I've been doing this for like, 8 years, but you're just introducing yourself to people. But I've known you since I was, I think, starting in the industry. So I've seen you for several years out there grinding and playing a ton of shows. So it's cool to see you get recognized and get put in front of a lot of people.
Thank you. And thanks so much for your support too. And as you say, I've been watching your journey too. So it's so cool. That's like this full circle moment for us to be chatting right now. And yeah, it's one of those pinch me moments, I guess. It's kind of like when you're just starting young in the industry, it's like it's the 10-year overnight success. So it's like when these things happen, that's the pinch me moment, because you start young and you look up to all these different artists that you're inspired by, and then when it happens to you, you're like, okay, I'm where my dream artists were.
Yeah, super cool. And who were those artists for you? Like when you first started out and decided music was kind of the path for you, who were those key country stars that you were going, hey, one day, like they're the people I want to aspire to be like?
Well, I've always been inspired by my country music heroes like Garth Brooks, Shania Twain, Martina McBride, Carrie Underwood. But my list could go on. But I'd say in Canada, the ones that really had an influence, and I saw what they were doing, was Terry Clark, Megan Patrick, Jason Blaine, Tim Hicks. Just to know their stories and how they got to where they are, it made it more real for me, knowing that I could do the same thing. So, and seeing their journeys is definitely what made me realize it's possible.
So cool. And I know you make several trips down to Nashville. Has that been a cool new, like when you first started coming down, but a really cool new experience for you to just branch out and see what it's like to be in a city that like legitimately lives and breathes country music?
Yeah, well, Nashville definitely has had a huge influence on me since the beginning. I was just a teen starting out in this, and I got really lucky really early on to pair up with my producer, who was from my hometown. He's a hit songwriter and quite connected to the Nashville scene, and he kind of took me under his wing and mentored me. And we did the whole Nashville thing, and we worked with some huge pros. And it was actually pretty overwhelming, but also very humbling because everybody there is just so cool and down to earth. And I feel like there's like the Nashville show that makes it all like more glamorous, but when you're in Nashville, it's a lot more real. And it's all about the community of, you know, just meeting new people and working together. And it's definitely had a huge influence on my writing and the friends that I've made. And I continue to go every year. And my next move is definitely to live there,
Good.
because it is just such a hub. And yeah, this actually my recent single that's on Pure Country was written in Nashville, but with a Canadian, Jason Blaine. But I do think there's that influence of being surrounded by country music and country music people.
Yeah. And also like a lot of people don't realize this, maybe more so now because we're on social media more and stuff, but a lot of our favorite Canadian country artists live in Nashville. Like everyone always jokes that Canadians have taken over Nashville because there's so many of them down there. And it's cool to see them representing really well because, you know, back, gosh, 20 years ago, there was not that many of us in Nashville. Like it was, you know, Terry Clark and Paul Branch was down here, but it's cool to see a lot more Canadians going and representing Canada in Nashville.
It really is, and I've seen that shift as well, over my time being there, and how open and willing that people are able to bring in the Canadians to the community. I would say it wasn't necessarily always like that, and I totally understand why, because it's all about the culture of country music and authenticity. So I think we've had to really prove ourselves there in the American market, but Canadians are definitely making a stamp, and it's so cool to see that we're developing a little Canada in Nashville.
Yeah, it really is. And have you made the trip to Australia yet? Because I know you've had a lot of airplay and success there and your videos played and whatnot. Have you made that trip yet?
I haven't. That's definitely on my bucket list. Near future, definitely want to do that. They've been so responsive to my work as well, and I know that they have a huge country music scene. And with Keith
Yeah.
Urban being from Australia, it would be so cool to explore it, and obviously so beautiful. And I would love to see a kangaroo.
Me too. One day we'll make the trek. And who was kind of when you first got into the industry? Because it's always cool, but also kind of scary to meet your heroes. But have you met one of your heroes where you've been like, oh, you're just as cool as I had hoped you'd be?
I would say it was Jason McCoy when I was just starting out. He was one of the first that I met and just so down to earth. Same with George Canyon, two of the most down to earth people I'd met really early on and I looked up to. And I continue, obviously, to be surrounded by so many people that I looked up to, and they're becoming friends now, which is another pinch me moment. But it was, yeah, Jason McCoy and George Canyon that they give great advice and they're great people.
Awesome. I love that. All right. Well, since you have a song called Never Have I Ever, figured we would just like play a little version of that.
I love that.
But we'll keep it very, PG. Because I was like looking up Never Have I Ever questions and I was like, whoa, okay, we'll we'll do the good version. But I'm interested to see. Have you ever bungee jumped?
Okay, so I feel like it's one of those sort of things. I don't know if it's considered bungee jumping. It was at Wonderland, you know, the
Okay.
huge bungee jumping swing. So I feel like it's kind of in the realm of
I
bungee jumping.
I would consider that bungee jumping because I'm terrified of anything like that. But I think like real bungee jumpers would be like, that's
Right?
not real. But we'll give you like a 0.5 for that.
Yeah, point
Um,
0.5.
okay. Have you fainted?
Yes, a few times in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. Not my proudest moments, but it's happened. Um,
Yeah.
worn Crocs.
Yep. Worn a
Okay.
few Crocs in my life too. They're very
They
comfortable.
are. Do you have Crocs now that they've come back into style?
I need to get some new Crocs. And I see that yeah, there's all the little like I don't know what you call them, the little
Pin?
figurines or pins. Yeah, the little pins in them. I need to get some Crocs with pins. But
Yeah.
yes, I've worn them quite a few times.
Have you ever skipped class?
Yep. I've skipped class. I've gotten the doctor's note.
Oh yeah, me too. I know. My mom was not my biggest fan in high school because I skipped a whole. Have you ever hitchhiked?
Hitchhike, no. That I feel
No.
like that's too scary, too risky.
It is risky. I'll tell you a story about an experience that I had that my husband wanted to kill me for, but similar to hitchhiking, not quite, but so you've done pretty much everything other than hitchhiking. Have you ever traveled solo?
I have. I feel like with music, I've had to learn to travel solo. Um, I feel like the first time I did it, it was a little nerve-wracking, but it's empowering actually once you do it a couple of times and to just be comfortable with your own company and you kind of get to take everything in a different way.
Yeah, I think everyone needs to go on a solo trip at least once in their life.
100%.
Have you ever met a celebrity, like a biggest celebrity that you've met? Who would it be? Because I'm assuming you've met some.
Who would it, my biggest be? I think Jason Aldean. Jason Aldean is the one
Sorry.
that comes to mind.
Was he as cool and humble as you thought he would be?
He was cool. I feel like Jason Aldean is cool without trying to be cool.
Yeah,
But
he's
it
got
was
this
just and
like
it was
very
just a quick.
suave, like
Yeah.
calm demeanor that you're like almost intimidated by how cool he is.
Yeah.
He's just
I wish
like,
I could be that cool.
yeah,
I
you're
wish I
like,
could.
how are you that cool?
Yeah.
And last one, have you ever won a CMA Ontario award?
I have. I won in 2023, which was one of those milestone bucket list things. I've been on the other side of the audience, hoping for one of those one day, and it happened in 2023 for Video of the Year, and I had no idea. I was actually backstage hanging out with some friends, and and I'm like, oh no, I'm not winning. I don't know why I wasn't believing in myself, but I was just like, whatever, I'm just having a good time, and they were like, Elyse, we need you to, you just sit in your seat. They're trying to be very, neutral about it.
Great.
Be like, we just
Yeah.
need you to sit down, because you're nominated. You have to sit. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I wasn't really prepared with a speech, so I just went off the heart, and it was a surreal moment.
Yes, I remember seeing you backstage. I didn't know because I was hosting, so I didn't have the winner announced yet. But I don't think I announced that winner, but I remember being backstage being like, why isn't she in her seat? She's nominated. And then I got to witness that moment, and it was really
Yeah,
cool because I think it's almost better when you do have a moment like that where you have confidence in yourself, but you're just happy to be nominated and you're not expecting it, and it just happens that the time you probably need it to happen the most.
exactly. You said it. Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. I feel like that's the best way to describe it is you go in like just excited to be there and supporting your friends, and you're like, it would be cool if I win, but no disappointments. It's I'm just honored to be nominated. So it made it actually more fun, not expecting it, I guess, and just going with it.
Then you're like, woohoo, let's party.
Yeah, exactly. Celebrate.
Yes. Well, we will definitely be celebrating you for the next 2 months as our iHeartRadio Future Star. Congratulations. And
Thank
thank you
you.
so much, Elyse Saunders, for joining us on Pure Country.